Hello everyone. I would like to talk to you guys about finding grades and feedback on D2L. Regardless of how well you've come to know this content page throughout the semester, I still find students that halfway through, 3/4 of the way, 95% through the class, still don't know how to find answers to quizzes and feedback on assignments. So your basic grades page on D2L, which of course I'm sure will be changing soon over the summer, but your basic grades location here gives you the short version, your score, with just a very brief version of the feedback for that particular assignment. If you go actually into the assignments and quizzes page on your individual D2L page, you'll then be able to view the details as well. What that looks like depends on whether you're viewing a quiz or if you're viewing a full graded assignment with a rubric. So a quiz will have an answer version like this. If you go to assessments and quizzes, I'm going to just open this in a new tab for convenience, then you'll have an arrow here that you go down to with submissions. Those are the submissions that you have made for the assignment. Click here and then you'll have options for submission 1, submission 2, depending on what your options were for that particular assignment. That will then take you to the results page like this, where you get to see not only what you put, but what the instructor's version of the correct answer is, what the questions were, even multiple versions of an answer if that's possible, as with this question about micropipetting. If it's a question that you did answer, you'll also see these markings indicating which answer you chose, okay, and which answer was actually correct. So in this case, depressing the plunger during aspirating to the second stop is incorrect, and that's the answer that you chose. The correct answer is the first stop. Okay. Longer questions where you're typing in extensive answers are going to require the instructor to grade it by hand most of the time, and you'll have a view feedback option here where you see either feedback specifically on your version of the answer or general feedback for that question. If you have an assignment that was graded on a rubric, you'll access it the same way, except going through the Assignments tab, and then for each assignment you're going to have your submissions here, like this, that you'll be able to click on, and you'll have your feedback there listed as well. What you'll get if there's a rubric is an actual point-by-point, line-by-line score tied to your instructions for what you were supposed to do. So for example, on this first line here, we had the Wolbachia background. You had a possible 2 points if you gave a complete description of Wolbachia at the beginning of the essay. If you didn't, then your points came down and you have feedback over here on the side. One of the really nice things about viewing this version of the feedback is having a nice visual for where you didn't get your full points. Okay, so we can see here this is from a previous student, not from anyone in this semester, but for their overall description of the effect of Wolbachia, they did describe an effect, but not completely enough to get full credit. So the feedback here is flagged in red. You can clearly see that you've not gotten the full score, and you have specific feedback on how Wolbachia works or whatever version of the question you have. Okay. You have this available for any assignment that's been graded on a rubric. The simpler version that you get of this feedback in the actual grades page on D2L just takes all of this text that we type in as instructors and puts it all in one box. So it's much more difficult for you as a student to find the most important parts of that feedback and actually connect it to our expectations. This helps you out a lot more and will help you do very well on projects and assignments later in the semester. The last item I have for you is a note on the grades progress page on D2L. This not only gives you grades, but it also gives you perspective on how you're doing compared to the rest of class and what your possibilities are for the semester. So how the grades progress page is currently set up is that it shows your grade here, the top left. Okay. It also shows it here, and then your maximum and minimum final for the class. So in this case, if this student made 100 on every remaining assignment, then they could get a 95. If they made a 0 on every remaining assignment for the course, they would have a 37. Not the greatest. Neither of those is actually a particularly likely scenario. Okay? You're much more likely to make good grades and head towards that 95, or poor grades and head towards that 37, than to actually end up with either one. Okay? This is a good tool when you're trying to figure out, can I make an A? Can I make a B? Can I make a C in this class? Can I pass this class? Reality. Class average here is something I see a lot of students relax a little bit relieved when they see that the class average isn't as far from their own grade as they thought it was. So for example, this was a student that came into me a little upset that they were concerned that they had a B, but when they realized that the class average was a C and that they were actually doing a decent bit better than the rest of the class, it was a bit of a relief to them to realize that they were being successful as a student and that this is just a tough course. Okay? It's an introductory biology course. If you're one of my 1107 lab students or 1108 lab students, either way, you need to know that you guys are all in the same boat and the good grades are possible. Okay? If you scroll down on that page, you do get additional information on each graded assignment, at least for me. What you'll see on this page depends on how your professor has this system set up. Okay? For me, it's going to show you the median and the range of grades that students got on a particular assignment. In this case, it's the median and range for the final calculated grade. Okay? I think it's giving the first and third percentile here, and then the black dot is your particular grade. So this student is well above average on the final grade, but you can see that they're actually a little below average on their grade for a particular assignment, in this case iClicker questions from the lecture. Hopefully that was helpful to you and you'll be able to go in and view your feedback on your assignments and improve your scores throughout the semester. If you have questions on this process, remember you can always send me an email or stop by during my office hours. Thanks.